And hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Kent Holste podcast. I'm so glad that you decided to click that link and join in this conversation, as today we're going to be talking about something that is sometimes uncomfortable to talk about, and that is mental health. Now, in the news, we see a lot of people struggling with thoughts that are not healthy. Thoughts that may cause issues, not just for these people that are suffering, but for other people around them as well. The thing about mental health is when people are feeling down or upset and they don't know how to handle the situations that they're going through, it not only affects them, but it does affect other people around them. The hurt and the pain that they're feeling, trust me, it's felt by other people around them who care, whether it be family or whether it be friends. Now, today on this podcast, it's going to be a little bit different. This is where we need your help and your support. Now, in the comment spot, please, if you've had issues with depression or anything involving the thought of suicide, I need you to be that person today and put in the comment spot throughout this conversation what you dealt with and how you pulled through it. A lot of the issue is when people deal with mental health issues, a lot of people don't seek help. So right off the bat, if you are going through anything like this, where you feel down, where you feel like you're not in control of your life, and you're afraid that you might do harm to yourself or other people, please contact the National Suicide Prevention Line. They have nothing to do with this, but it's the only thing really out there that I can think of that can really make an impact in people's lives. And that number is 800-273-8255. And I will put all these links in the section about this topic. Or even if it's not that, seek medical attention by going to a hospital, talking to a doctor or a therapist, or even someone from a church that can steer you towards the right direction. Now, unfortunately, we live in a world where there are people who aren't feeling motivated or feel like they're capable of fixing their life. And they feel like leaning towards other things that are not healthy, like addiction to drugs, addiction to alcohol, or any other thing. Maybe they're just addicted to self-mutilation, where they like to cut themselves or do other types of bodily harm. These things need to be taken seriously. And when we come back, we're going to talk more about this subject of mental health. Are you looking for a positive place to join a great community? Well, go to the Kent Holste podcast website, where you can find Circle of Friends. This is a page to be supportive by sharing special events that are positive, or even letting others pray for you. A place that people can come together without fear of being judged, no matter race or disabilities. A time to be a part of that person that takes the time to care for others when it's needed most. We are all not just friends, we are family. It's Circle of Friends on the Kent Holste podcast website. Check it out today. Now, obviously, once again, if you've dealt with anything like this and you have good, positive advice, please put your feedback in the comment spot so other people can get involved in this conversation. Now, we just talked about the hotline for National Suicide Prevention. If you are having thoughts of self-harm or anything like that, please call that number or seek medical attention. There's a lot of people who just don't understand the significance of their own life and how important it is. The symptoms that we sometimes don't want to admit that we see from others can be the most important thing that we can do just to check. And that's the biggest thing that we need to do is when we see people hurting or down, take that chance and that opportunity just to verify and make sure they're okay and that you're there for them and that they can come to you for help or advice. Because that's the biggest thing that we can do for people. Now, some of these symptoms, and I'm just looking this up through the mayoclinic.org, symptoms or signs of if you know someone who might need mental help. And what they say is if someone is feeling sad or down, confused thinking or reduced ability to concentrate, excessive fears or worries or extreme feeling of guilt, extreme mood changes of highs and lows, withdrawals from friends and activities, and significant tiredness and low energy or problems sleeping. Now, those are just a few. And once again, that's from the mayoclinic.org. If you want to do some research on that, I'm sure there's plenty of other websites that can give you that. But those are the signs that we can tell. Now, obviously, just because someone is feeling down or upset doesn't mean that they're a threat of hurting themselves. But you never know. But it's still a good thing to check. In my life, there was plenty of times where the thought of hurting myself came into play, whether it have been a breakup or whether those times where I was bullied, I couldn't take the emotions that I was going through. But the one thing that got me through a lot of those situations is the support that I've had from my friends and through other people that I've come across in my life. And that's an important thing. I think that there needs to be positive people around you in order to have a successful, healthy life. And we've talked about that many, many, many times on this podcast. And I think it's important that we think about that. Look around you. If you see something that's not right or that isn't good for your life, why stick around? You got to make positive choices. You have to make positive life changes to be successful, to have good thoughts in your mind. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people who have been through very traumatizing situations and they just don't know how to handle themselves or handle those issues. And that's where we need to come together. The last thing we need is people just standing around and watching as this continues to happen throughout our country. I was just doing another research on teen suicide, and this is from Americans Health Rankings .org. And teen suicide, it has so much stuff going on. And, we hear it all the time. And even, I have been a victim of saying this myself. And I can't even say that victim is the right word. Is I chose to use these words of saying that I wanted to hurt myself or do bodily harm. It's not easy to hear people that you care about saying that they want to do these things to themselves. But the thing is when we hear these things, we have to take it seriously. We have to act on it as if it is something that is going to happen. And the issue is there's not a lot of people who take it seriously. And unfortunately, there's a lot of medical facilities. There's a lot of hospitals that I feel do not step up. They think that, this isn't a high enough risk. Okay, but these people are saying they want to hurt themselves. How does that make sense? There's people that are hurting, but yet what they're feeling isn't up to your standards. Does that sound right to you? Because it doesn't to me. If someone says that they want to hurt themselves or they feel like they need to hurt themselves or take their life, that should be just as important as anything else out there. And to turn people away? Come on. That's not right. But the healthiest state is Rhode Island, believe it or not. And I think that makes sense because it's a smaller state. It's at 5.0. The latest healthy state is Alaska at 34.0. And according to their website, the definition, number of deaths by suicide per 100,000 adolescents ages 15 through 19. So those are the ages. It's pretty crazy. But you know what? There are cases of children who are younger than that have these thoughts, unfortunately. Data source and years, the CDC Wonder Online database, underlying cases of death, multiple cases of death files, 2016 through 2018. Kind of interesting. Just kind of skimming through this article here on their website. And it says in 2017 there was more than 6,200 suicide deaths among adolescents, young adults ages 15 through 24. That's just absolutely crazy. And it was the second leading cause of death for that age group. That's just insane. You know, it's just hard to imagine these families that have to go through the strain in their life of dealing with the loss of someone being that young. And I think a lot of the situation that goes on with our kids and feeling this way is we try to do our best to be supportive, but sometimes with our expectations of how we would like to see our kids, we kind of lose focus and we can sometimes be overlooking things. We tend to not want to admit that our kids, they have problems, they need help. We want to have this image in our mind that our kids are okay and that they wouldn't do these types of things, but that's not in our control. But what can be is the love and support that you can give. The toughest thing is them understanding what's going on in their mind and them understanding the significance of getting the help that they need. So how do we do that? How do we be supportive but not seem like we're pushing and risk the chance of pushing them farther away? It's a great question to ask. So if you know that answer or can give that advice, put that in the comment spot. And we'll be right back. Have you seen the Kent Holste Podcast website yet? Well, check it out today. It's at www.kentholstepodcast.com. It's more than just podcasts. There's interviews, blogs, news, sports talk, circle of friends, and so much more. So what are you waiting for? Check it out right now. It's at www.kentholstepodcast.com. Now, just some other things to keep in mind as well. There is the suicide prevention lifeline.org for more information on that. And then also their 24/7 toll-free hotline is once again 800-273-8255. So make sure that you do the right thing. Get in contact with the right people. During my last divorce, I've talked about this before as well, where I called a suicide hotline, not because I was suicidal, but I was able to talk through what was on my mind to make sure that I wasn't going at least crazy, you know? And it was always a good thing because they gave advice. And they were there to listen. These people don't know who you are. These people don't judge you because of what you're going through. They're there because they care. These people are taking time out of their own lives to be that person, to be that one voice of reason, to try to help you. So why pass up on an opportunity for that to happen in your life? Because it's a good thing. It's a good thing to know that there's people out there who care, who want to be able to give a different insight than maybe what you were thinking that's going on in your life. They're going to give you the options and the ability to kind of think things through in a way that maybe you didn't think were even an option, or even you didn't even know. It didn't even pass through your mind. Because when you're going through hard situations in your life and you're dealing with so much in your life with your mental health, it sometimes is hard to understand things and see things clearly. It's hard to understand why things are happening. And when you're already in a cluster in your mind, you tend to look and view things in a complete different way than what they're intended. You start questioning yourself. You start thinking you're not worth it. The biggest thing that you need to understand, and first thing you need to do with your life, is understand that you are worth it. That you are important. That your life has meaning. The other thing you need to think about is the people who do care. And as much as you want to think or believe that no one does, that's so not true. There are people out there who care. And maybe they don't say it enough. Maybe they don't express it the way that they should. Or maybe you just don't know it all. Because they just don't do it completely. But that doesn't mean just because you don't see it or feel it that it's non-existent. because your life is important. Your life does have meaning. For some, it takes years to finally see the big picture of what you're here for. The biggest thing you have to remember is this too. Look what you already have. Whether it be your kids, your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. They care. And if they truly care and love you enough, if you let them in, they'll be there for you. And it's not an inconvenience to them. If they understand what you're going through and you're open about it and you don't hide it, chances are that will bring you closer together. So don't hide. Don't be afraid what they're going to think. Because if they truly cared, they would do anything to make sure that you're going to be okay. Because do you think they really want to lose you? Do you really think they want to see you hurting? No. True love is not only the affection physically, but it's the emotion that you have that you can only give from the heart. And it doesn't matter if you're in a relationship with that person or not, whether they're just someone on the street. We all have feelings. We all have struggles. We all have pain that we try to get over. But you have to find that positive thing inside of you to motivate you, to understand that there's people out there that are just waiting to help someone. Sometimes it's pulling yourself out of your life to gain a better insight on life. And that's where going to a hospital and checking yourself in and making sure that maybe there aren't other options like medications that you can take. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there, and unfortunately, I was like this at one point where I thought that medications didn't help, that they're pointless, that they're useless. But that's far from the truth as well. I didn't want to take my medication when I was a kid for my depression and ADHD because I thought that. I didn't think it worked. I didn't give it a chance. You have to. The other thing is, in the midst of your depression, there's always going to be excuses. Your mind is going to mess with you and tell you things that aren't true to try to convince yourself to not get help. There's people that think, oh, well, my medications affect me by doing this. My medications make me droggy. They make me feel non-existent, like I'm just there. But that's the thing you need to remember. If you're going through situations where your body feels different, as long as if it's not making you completely sick and there's issues with the medications that are harming your body physically, if you're feeling like you're fine, but you're just feeling down, that's your body transitioning. That is your body actually living a normal life. You're just freaking out because you're not used to just being mellow and relaxing and not fearing and having anxiety and all this other things that your mind becomes so immune to. So you have to let it work. But I understand it's tough when medications make you groggy. That happens. But eventually your body gets used to it. Sometimes our medications make you not hungry. It makes your appetite feel less. Sometimes it does cause you to not get enough sleep, or it makes you feel like you don't get enough sleep. It's all a transition. It takes time for your body to grow immune to it because you're so used to being high strung. Your body is used to just being so active and being all over the place that you just need that time for your body to realize that, okay, this is how things are supposed to be. So you got to give it time. So think about that. And maybe I'm missing out on a few things. Join in this conversation and talk about medications and what they can do and the signs that they're actually working. Put that in the comment spot as well. This is once again a time for us to come together as a community to talk about this and to figure things out.
Are you looking for a positive change in your life? Well, I encourage you to go to the Kent Holste Podcast website, where there's a link called Positive Lifestyles by Holste. There, you can find products from Q Sciences and Herbalife. Products such as skincare, weight loss, and also products to help you get a good night's rest, pain relief, and so much more. Check it out today. It's on the Kent Holste Podcast website at www.kenthulste.com/positive lifestyles by Holste.
You know, our mental health is something that we need to take very, very seriously, because if we let ourselves get so deep into these emotions, these raw emotions, and we don't know how to handle them, we don't know how to get through those times where you feel so overwhelmed and so consumed with your personal life and the life that you live every single day, that it can be harmful. It can add more problems. So that's why it's important that you talk about it. Seek medical help by a doctor, a therapist, a pastor, but also look into websites and hotlines to call that can help you. This is a very serious thing. This is a very hard topic to talk about because we don't want to admit that we need help. We are afraid to discuss our personal lives because we feel like no one will understand, no one will care. It's none of anybody's business. Your health and wellness and your safety is other people's business, because you deserve to be happy. You deserve to live a life where you can feel comfortable, to know that there are people that are willing to listen and to understand. And it's not because they're obligated to. It's just because that's how they feel they need to live their life, is to help other people. That's why this podcast is in existence, because it's to bring awareness, to motivate not just yourself, but other people to be at their best, to be that person that can listen and try to understand without making accusations or assumptions. We have to live a better life by understanding how the mind works. We need to take more time to understand sometimes that people's lives are not like yours. There are people that handle situations differently than others. Let's face it. Let's look at our situation right now. We're living in a very difficult time. We have been living in a very difficult time this past year with this pandemic. A lot of people are struggling, and a lot of those people are children. A lot of those people are adults because they're not used to this. They aren't used to feeling alone because of being in isolation and because of being restricted because of the recommendations by the CDC and by all these other health organizations and by our government telling us that we need to be social distanced. It's something that we're not used to. You know, we're so used to growing up, and I remember as a kid how hard it was for kids, and especially me sometimes, to give personal space. Remember that word, that sentence, keep your distance. Give that person their personal space. You're too close to each other. And we didn't understand it. But just think how hard it is now that we're all being forced to keep our distance. That we have to be restrained by wearing face masks because it's what's for best for all of us. It's what's keeping us safe from contracting this virus. Even though some people believe in the mask, some people don't. We all have our own perception. We all have our own beliefs. But what we need to believe in is each other. That we can trust one another. That if I'm going through something and I need help, I can trust that person. If it needs to be silent, that it stays silent. But if it's serious, we have to do the right thing. There's some people who say something to another person in confidence that they won't tell anybody. But they get upset because they have no choice, because they fear for that person's safety. If someone that you know is struggling with mental health issues and they say certain things that raise up a red flag, do not just let that go one ear out the other. Tell someone. Report it. Encourage them. Tell them, hey, I understand what you're saying, but maybe this is something that you need to talk to a professional. Do you need me to drive you to the hospital? I'll stay there. I'll do whatever I can to be by your side. How amazing would that be to hear someone say that to you? That they've got your back. Now, maybe it's embarrassing, yes. But obviously that person cares enough about you that they want to see you get the help that you deserve. We hear treatment. We hear the word treatment, and automatically we think the worst, that we've got an issue, that we've got a problem, that we're not perfect. And we use that as a tool to hide the fact that we need to take that step to get help. Treatment is not a bad thing. Treatment doesn't mean that you're weak. Treatment doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It just means that you're doing the right thing to get help, to better your life, to give you the confidence and the strength that you need to survive in the midst of the problems and the hard times that you have going on in your life. The biggest questions are, what causes these situations? Maybe it's a death in the family. Maybe it's a situation of witnessing and being a part of an abusive situation. Maybe it's the addiction to drugs or alcohol or self-mutilation or whatever. Maybe it's seeing someone that you know go through that. Our minds work in different ways, but our minds are very sensitive. And as much as we don't want to admit that, because we want to be manly and show our toughness and hide things, it's the truth. Our minds are very sensitive, and they need to be treated such. It's not a joke. Your health, your safety is not a joke. So think about it. What's better? getting help and becoming strong, or continue to live the life that you're going. Because let me make it very, very clear, and I've said this before as well. Taking your own life is the easy way out. It's not the answer. Because your situation that you're going through, somebody else is going through it too. And that's where you need to work together. But also, when you do these things where you take your own life, those emotions that you went through get passed on to the other people that you surrounded your life with. And you don't know how they're going to react to that. How do you think that's going to make them feel? Knowing that you're not there. Their best friend, their family member, the one person that they could trust and rely on. Wouldn't you rather live your life to the fullest and take these issues that you have in your life and conquering them? There's no better feeling. In this past 2 years, I've overcome so many obstacles. I've become a stronger person. I believe in myself more than I ever have in my entire life. It's not that I'm cocky or arrogant. It's just that I know and I realize what's more important about life. It's the people around you. It's the things you do on a daily basis to build yourself a life where you can look back and go, I did that. I overcame the unthinkable, the unimaginable. I did that. And you're just as capable of doing that. Because life is like a stepping stone. Sometimes you can get across because there's big enough rocks that you can step on. But sometimes there's some where you have to jump. And sometimes you may miss that next step by just a little bit and you get your leg wet, but that's not the end. Yeah, you may trip and you fall and you get completely soaked. But that's not the end either, because you can get back up and get out and dry off. And it's as if nothing even happened. Yeah, you may remember that. Yeah, it may be something that you look back on and laugh about. But it wasn't the end, was it? Every day is a new beginning. Every day is a new time to look at your life as a chapter in a book. Your addiction to drugs is one chapter, but you can turn that page and start fresh. Your addiction to alcohol, your addiction to hurting yourself, the addiction of treating others with disrespect, or the things that you do to harm other people, that's all things that can be turned and closed. It may not be forgotten, but those are things you look back on and go, I'm not going to let those things happen again. I'm not going to let myself think that I don't need help from a doctor, a therapist. I'm not going to let myself think that I wasn't good enough. I'm not going to let other people get into my head and hurt me emotionally. I am going to be a survivor. I am going to overcome this no matter what I have to do. And you can't do that without help. You can't do that without positive people around you. So think about that. Think about the significance of what the possibilities could be like if you take the right steps.
I just want to take a moment to thank you for listening to today's podcast. Hopefully there's something on today's show that you've really enjoyed. And if that's the case, please like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. But also do the same things on the Kent Holste Podcast website. It really makes a big difference to those who are really trying to find something inspirational to help their lives. So thank you again for listening and enjoy the rest of the podcast.
Once again, all the links and things that I've talked about will be posted on this topic on the YouTube channel, as well as the Kent Holste podcast website. I encourage you to check it out. I encourage you to talk and make a conversation here on this topic, as anything that you know about mental health, suicide prevention, please comment and share your advice and encourage others who might need to see these comments to get the help and to realize that their life matters, that they are important. So once again, that number for the National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 800-273-8255, or go to their website, suicidepreventionlifeline.org. All these, like I said, will be posted on this topic, so check it out. So the thing is, how do we move forward from the situations that are too late, that we can't go back and change? All that we're left is the memories of the people that are no longer here. And the best answer to that is bring awareness. Talk about their life, the struggles that they went through. Let other people know that if they're going through that, to not make the same mistake, that there is hope, there are other options. There are people who care. There are professionals who are trained to help people that are having those types of feelings. The other thing that you can do is not through just awareness of the lives and the people that we've lost. Start a foundation. Start a website. Raise money to help people that are going through tough times, that are in recovery, that need that extra boost of support and love. This is your time. This is your opportunity to make an impact on people who need it the most, especially the young children in our country, the young people who are dealing with the stresses of broken homes and families, the kids that are dealing with situations of abuse or neglect, or situations that they feel like they're being mistreated and bullied, and they just don't know how to handle it. These young people deserve to feel the love and compassion that any person, any adult wants to feel too. We're all entitled to live a life where we can feel good and confident about ourselves. But we can't do that without the right people, the right steps. Sometimes we have to do things that we don't feel comfortable doing in order to better ourselves. Sometimes it's just a matter of just doing what's right, even though our mind says that we don't need it, that it's pointless. Because it's not. It's relevant. There's so many different things out there that can help people, and we just don't take that chance, that opportunity. But what's even more sad than anything else is there's more people out there that watch people struggling and don't do anything about it. They just sit there and watch it all unfold and watch all these bad things happen. And then when it's all said and done, then they come out and say, what could we have done differently? No one wants to step up when it is vital, when it is important. We all wait until it's too late. So let's change that. So once again, in the comment spot, anything that you know about mental health, the the advantages of getting help when you're feeling suicidal, please put that in the comment spot. Any advice, life lessons that you've learned throughout your life in times where you may have helped someone that was going through raw emotions and they didn't know where to go. What did they do to succeed? What did they do to get the help that they deserved? And what was the final outcome? Was it successful? Because I bet it was. Share those success stories. Let people who watch this video know that there is help. Because obviously, the advantage to this is that no one can see who's watching this. I can't see who's watching it. The only way I can see who's watching it is if they say something. And don't let this be a time to be ashamed of what has happened in your life. Be strong and let people know that they're not alone. But there is hope. That's what we need to do. So think and be positive. Do what you can today, not what you can't, to help this major issue with mental health. Let's make it better together. Let's be a community and help other people. Because I believe in you. Don't you think you should too? And if you see someone who served our country, whether it be military, fire, police, medical, no matter what they've done for our country, take the time to give them an elbow, give them a fist bump, and tell them how much you appreciate them. You never know how much they might appreciate that. It all has to do with kindness. So let's do that together today. And until the next time we talk, thank you for coming to the Kent Holste podcast, whether it be on the website or on this YouTube channel. I really appreciate you guys. Please be that person today. And until the next time we talk again, be safe and God bless.